Hello everyone. So I don't want to do this video, okay? But I gotta explain what I saw and what I observed, okay? Now, that young white lady that got murdered on that train, right, in North Carolina, it's disgusting, okay? It's just disgusting, the whole circumstances, Jesus Christ, okay? But now in New York City, it's a lot different, okay? Public transportation. It's just because there's so many people in New York City that, like, maybe you're gonna get someone that steps on your foot, you're gonna just rude people. New Yorkers are pretty good at policing themselves. So I remember there was this drunk Russian. Yeah, you get that in New York. When you get diversity like that, I miss that. I hate where I live at now because there's no diversity. Everyone, it's like Mexican, a couple white boys from Fort Bliss Army base, and a couple black dudes from the Army too. It's like Mexican and everyone, a couple whites and a couple black people or something. That's what El Paso's like, right? In New York too, you can find a hot chick like every 10 seconds. That's why it sucks when you got like blue balls. You're going through a bad drought because there's actually hot women in New York. But here's the thing. Now, in public transportation in other cities, it sucks. Okay, you could be a millionaire, even though a millionaire in New York isn't it's like 400K a year everywhere else, right? Maybe 300K a year. So, but you got wealthy people on subways too. The buses is a different story, but usually instead of in New York, I'd rather just walk off the subway than get on a bus. I didn't deal with buses when I lived in New York City. Okay, for the most part, I barely got on it was mostly the subways. But like I said, during the daytime, even later in the evening time, somebody would have been. There have been way too many people for a situation like that to happen. I think she would have been fine in New York City. Beautiful white lady. I mean, someone sticking up for her. They're just okay. So she was in a situation where she shouldn't have been in. I know her father apparently is in the Ukraine. They don't let the males leave. Okay, but I'm not victim blaming at all. This person should be killed immediately. He don't deserve a fair trial. Not every person acts like is a human, even though we're in human flesh, deserves human rights, right? Especially these mother effers where I live at. Run through red lights, drink and drive, no accountability. They definitely don't deserve. Yes, I'm admiring my peaks. All right, now here's the thing. When I would take public transportation, I was in a lot of unnecessary conflicts. So, and what did that do? Let me explain. So I would save, like, in San Antonio, it was $20 a month, $21 a month or something for a military. I could ride the bus all day. And San Antonio is a bigger city, so there's more like bus route. It still sucks, right? But I was in several situations, especially at the transfer station, like the bus stations. Not the bus. I think they're called just like transfer stations. Not really that, like, that's what it is. Okay, like kind of like the central points of where the buses meet in case you got to take another bus. It's basically like homeless, drug addict, refugees, right? So there was one situation, well, several, but where I was about to get down. Okay, a couple times in San Antonio, and then and it's very scary because this is why. You're dealing with a different group of people. I know when I drive, it's the road rages that can happen, but driving is better than public transportation. Okay, outside New York City, right? It is. I'm in the vehicle. I'm fairly secure. No one's gonna approach me for the most part. Yeah, I gotta worry about, you know, the roads and the drivers out there, but it's way different. You don't have a lot of protection when you're out in the open, and nobody gives a fuck about you. Okay, even when the cops come, it's like they're just gonna assume, okay, just a bunch of broke motherfuckers, public transportation. They just see two people fighting, and you're both going to jail. So these homeless drug addicts, these losers, I don't know if the guy was a homeless drug, but they're not even looked upon by law enforcement as so that's why they don't show up, okay, all the time, right? Or there's not a whole lot of security going on over there. Obviously in North Carolina, or a transit police or anything like that, knowing there's fucking a bunch of fucking monkeys fucking, in there. She was surrounded by fucking monkeys, okay? That fucking thing that stabbed her to death should be in a fucking zoo, scratching his armpits, right? Just look at him, okay? But the problem is she shouldn't have been around those type of fucking people. Me, I have no business to be on the fucking bus anymore. Even if I became friends with a couple bus drivers, operators, it's not my social class, okay? I have no business. When I visited Vegas, this drug addict asked me if I had $1. I told him no. He shook his head at me like, okay? So then it's a problem, okay? Now I'm checking him, right? He asked me what time it was, and I said, I don't know. Okay, that becomes a problem. The bus finally shows up. His eyes are all fucking blood, like yellow and yellow jaw, hepatitis looking drug addict, right? But what I'm saying is that situation, even something like that, it could have gone. I'm showing up to run the Vegas Marathon, right? The Rock and Roll Marathon. But I took the bus, the Sahara Express bus, to my Airbnb, and then that's when nothing happened. Okay, he just left me alone. But it could have gone bad, okay? Multiple situations, okay? Some of these homeless drug addicts have nothing better else to do but to start shit, okay? Another time, okay, a situation where security had to show up. Like 4 security guards showed up. They're right between me and another homeless, not homeless, but a Mexican drug addict, okay? He was acting stupid. I called him an idiot. He said, you don't have to call me an idiot. And I said, because you are an idiot, right? And then he tried to act tough. I got towards him. He went back away from me, and then he starts calling me out, saying, let's get off the bus. Let's get off the bus. And then I already said, hey, if you're going to do something right now. Because I can't get off the bus and fight this homeless drug addict, because it's 2 people. All they're going to say is, you should have stayed on the bus, which I should have, right? So, no, I walked right up to him. I'm talking close combat. And it's dangerous, okay? The bus operators can't do shit. I've seen bus drivers get like, not assaulted, but close enough. But they have been in their faces, over the bus fee. All the bus operator finally says, like, hey, you can't ride for free. You got to put something in the box, right? The change box or whatever, and that's where it starts. So, the problem is she had no business being on that train, okay? And she didn't do anything wrong, but sometimes, like, the reason why I always got to be driving now, for the most part, like, I hope this doesn't happen. If something happens to my vehicle, I paid $5,000 for it, right? I got to freaking steal. Okay, so far it's been reliable, nothing's wrong with it, no check engine lights. All I had to do so far was replace the battery, 2 oil changes in the last like 7 months. Okay, 2 oil changes, replace the battery, and that's all I freaking have done. Okay, and the car runs fine so far. So but I can't do public transportation unless I'm in New York City. It's a different, okay. And another thing too is I'm always standing up. I've had people ask me why am I always standing up when I would take the bus, right? I'm always against the window, the opening, the door, right? My back is against the door and I can see everyone, right? And then I'm even pivoting to make sure that no one, even when people get off the bus, I'm always making sure I'm forward facing the area, right? I've stood on the buses for like over an hour before, standing. And people have asked me like, oh, do you want to sit down, or I got a seat for you? And I always just say no, thank you, right? So that's another problem. As far as and she was facing, she couldn't see behind her, okay? And my fear, which is possibility, is something like that happening, Okay, you know, and I'm half Puerto Rican, but my mother's Italian, white, right? She'd be white, and you know, apparently when he stabbed that lady to death, he said, yeah, F white people or F something, right? So they're gonna say, okay, it's just another white guy that tried to slice his throat, okay, or something. That it doesn't. I mean, you know how fucked up you gotta be to even do that to a fucking human being, like. Okay, but what I'm saying is, she had no business in there. If I'm a built guy, right? Like I'm 5'8" and a half, you know, but I usually, like right now I'm 195, but I walk around like 205, 210, right? And I know that the public transportation isn't meant for me, right? Okay, and she's a small white lady, young white lady. It wasn't meant for her. Okay, unfortunately it wasn't. Okay, so talk to you guys later. She shouldn't have even been on that train in North Carolina, but it's not her fault. But it's just you're not my demographic. Those niggers were not her demographics.